For most of my life, I suffered from chronic anxiety. Pretty much, if I was awake, I had some level of anxiety. I'm going to tell you how I overcame it for good. Maybe it'll help you and maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm just going to tell you what helped me. You don't have to buy anything. I'm definitely not trying to sell you anything or sell you on any kind of religion. And you don't even have to do all of that much. It's pretty easy. It worked wonders for me when when everything else didn't. So, catch you on the other side. If you have anxiety at all, maybe it'll be helpful, maybe it won't. We'll see. So I was what we used to call a shy kid. Like, I never wanted to get up in front of the class, didn't even want to go to school, didn't want to go meet new people, whatever. It was basically anxiety as a kid. We used to just call it shy, right? Had my first panic attack at 16. Didn't know what it was, just kind of woke up and was like, what the H is going on here? Probably by the time I was 19, I was having a lot of physical symptoms, chest pains. Like, I thought, my God, I'm going to have a heart attack, and I'm only 19 years old. Just muscle weakness, tingling, stuff like that. We were poor. Well, this is even before I met you, but by the time I met you and we got married, we were in our early 20s, and I was still having these symptoms. We were too poor, man. We had no insurance or whatever. Finally, you talked me into going to urgent care or whatever, and they said it was anxiety. I did not believe it. I never even heard of anxiety, didn't know anything about it. So I just bucked up and started drinking even more beer. So I tried that for a long time, beer. And it would help for a little bit. Have some anxiety, drink some beer, you wake up sober the next morning, you start having anxiety, you're like, my gosh, I better have some more beer. And I did that for about 30 years.
Or so.
And in the meantime, sometimes I did go to the doctor, and I tried Klonopin, and that works about the same as beer. Basically, it works for a minute, and then it stops. Eventually, I went to a doctor, and they tried SSRIs, and I always had bad reaction to them.
Sorry, guys, that's the like and subscribe cat.
It's Natty, I like it subscribed. So eventually I had a doctor who subscribed SSRIs, which is one of the first thing medical doctors will do. If you go in with any kind of anxiety, depression, they'll throw one of those things at you. I always had a bad reaction to them. They made me kind of, I guess, manic or whatever, trouble sleeping and eating and racing thoughts and all that. Eventually a doctor tried a mood stabilizer. And that really made me crazy. And this was probably around the start of the pandemic, maybe. And I just, a lot of stuff happened. And eventually I realized I had to get off all these stupid meds. And I had to do something about my anxiety deep down, right? And I didn't know what. And I don't even know how this started or if I heard from it from someone else or I just tried it. But this is a technique that worked for me. And maybe it will work for you. Whenever I would start to have anxiety for whatever reason, instead of trying to run from it, or think about something else, or to logic my way through it, or to argue with the thoughts I was having, I would just stop and feel the physical sensation of the anxiety attack. And all those thoughts would still be going on, and I would just do my best not to pay attention to them, and just feel that physical feeling. All anxiety really is projecting the past onto the future, neither of which exist at the moment. So focusing on that physical pain or physical sensation, because it's not even really pain. Once you start feeling the feeling itself, it's the same as being super excited, being on a roller coaster, being super happy, whatever. So just focus on that feeling. Let those thoughts turn down like an old-fashioned radio in another room or something. They're still going to be going, or you can think of it as a boiling pot, whatever. They're still bubbling back there and babbling. Pay them no mind. They're probably not even making any sense. Most of our thoughts don't make any sense, aren't really even in our control. You focus on that feeling, and then before you even know it, it will dissipate. It'll just go away, pass through you like a radio wave. And then you could think about whatever it was that you think gave you the panic attack to begin with, which who knows if that's even what it was. But I don't know. I kept doing that. It's really scary at first. And then maybe 30 minutes later, you might start having anxiety again. And I would just do it again. And I kept on doing it. And every time I did it, it would work a little faster. And then I could think about what it was that I thought was scaring me. And 100% of the time, it was something I could deal with. So eventually, I just stopped having anxiety whatsoever, really. Like, I still have every regular day worries, I guess, like anybody, but I don't have that feeling. That feeling of worry, that high strung, like a hot wire running through the middle of your body, tight wire feeling, ever.
So you hit upon this, before, but just to clarify, what what was like the scariest part of steering into that for you? Was it just looking at it fully?
I think so, yeah. Just the idea of doing it was scarier than actually doing it, I think. The idea of just facing whatever it was that was going on and feeling the full spectrum of that feeling without running from it. And I've come to find out this also works with anger, jealousy, I don't know, even physical pain to an extent.
So often the idea of something is, much worse than the actual reality of something. And it's very often imaginary. We make these scenarios up in our own minds.
Anxiety is nothing but a thought. I mean, that's all it is, it's thoughts.
Anything that you would, like any tips that you would give our viewers who are trying this for the first time? Were there breathing techniques that you used? Was there anything that you did that kind of helped you focus mentally and be able to face it without so much fear?
I guess I would do a little visualization with that idea of the thoughts being like an old-timey radio in the back of my head. But even that was very vague. Mostly I just tried to not focus on any thoughts whatsoever and just the physical feeling. And then it would go away, and then I could think about whatever. I don't know. Just get in the moment.